body bags where horror lies.
Hello and welcome to Body Bags. My name is James and I'm I keep saying that, I'm your Tuesday night reviewer. And for the second review of our theme week, which is fairy tale horror, I decided to bring you the film The Watchers, which is a new movie directed by Ishana Night Shyamalan. So M. Night's daughter, basically. This is the first film of hers that I'm aware of, and I wasn't too sure about watching it, but then I found out who directed it, so I was like, yeah, this is one that I'll give a go. And this is actually starring Dakota Fanning, which I thought was an interesting choice. I don't really hear her name at all anymore within her movies. But anyway, so she is, her character's name is Mina, and she's working in this pet shop in Ireland. There's things that she's struggling with, basically, and she's fairly unhappy, basically, with life and everything like that. And we find out very early on that she's estranged from her sister and her family. Basically, she's just kind of on her own. But with her job, she actually has to deliver this golden parrot. It's a very rare thing, and so her job basically is to take it to a zoo in Belfast. So there, like, we see her, she's going out for an evening. She's changing her appearance. You see her putting on a wig and a change of makeup. She looks quite different, and she's basically going out to find companionship for a night, to basically just hook up with some guy in a bar, which she does. And yeah, he doesn't really go into more of that, but you kind of explain, like you kind of figure out that she can't connect with people. There's past issues that have happened, past traumas that she's running away from, that she's not dealing with. Anyway, she's en route to the forest, to the zoo, and she breaks down in this forest, and she's just wandering around for ages. She gets lost. She's trying to find her way out, and she comes across this woman called Madeline, and she takes her to this bunker, which is nicknamed the Coop. And there are two other people along with Madeline. There's Kira and Daniel. And basically, they're stuck in this kind of almost like this container, but the whole one wall is like a one-way mirror. So they see their reflections, but from the outside, you can see it's a mirror. But they basically explain, well, Madeline explains that there's these creatures, these things, these entities, these I don't know, like how these just these creatures basically, and they're called the Watchers. And what they do is observe them. That's all they do. Sounds simple enough, sounds non-scary, but apparently when you go outside, they will kill you, apparently. So yeah, that's not so good, because we find out Kira's husband, John, he went out to find, basically to get help, and he never returned. It's assumed that the Watchers killed him. Anyway, it's kind of strange. But the next day, Madeline is explaining more that these creatures, they're basically nocturnal because they can't be in the sun, and they live in these deep burrows underground. So they basically stay away. They spend their days foraging for food to prepare, like to eat, obviously, to stay alive, and make sure that they're back before sunset, and that they're locked themselves inside the coop to obviously to stay alive. It is a strange thing. It's quite an unusual setup. But yeah, so basically, they're looking around. Mina is like, she's a bit more it seems like we have Madeline, who's like the leader of the group, and you have Kira and Daniel. They just kind of follow. But Mina's new, and she's the kind of the woman that she is, the spirit that she is. She's like, I'm not kind of just accepting all of this. So she goes down into one of these burrows, a bit of a creepy situation, and she finds like a couple of things. There's like a camcorder that she takes back, and a bicycle with the idea that she's going to ride off and kind of to go and get help. But yeah, they set up this camcorder outside the door, and that night John makes an appearance, Kira's husband, but as Madeline says, these watchers, they're shapeshifters. So she's like, this isn't John. And so Kira is asking her husband these questions that he should know, but he doesn't know. So they call him out, and then he just gets dragged off. So you never know if it's actually him or if it's one of these watchers. But anyway, like the watchers are angry because you see one of them in the distance in this video, but then they break the camcorder because they set it up to a TV so they can use it as like a live feed camera. But they get really angry, and they're sort of bashing against the wall, the window, the mirror, and they smash it. It doesn't explode or anything; it will smash through, but there's this huge crack across it. So Mina takes the things back the next day to kind of calm them down. But anyway, they're there after time. They're starting to kind of turn on themselves. It's like that there's no hope. They're not going to escape, sort of thing. And this one evening, Daniel locks out Mina and Madeline when they were out. They got a bit late, and then he's kind of freaking out, and he's like, to Kira, it's like they're not their watchers, sort of thing. But so they get stuck out, and they actually see one of these watchers. And it's like it's very strange humanoid kind of thing, very stretched limbs. And so Madeline starts explaining more about what's going on, that these shapeshifters are actual fairies, and that they are watching them and figuring out them to maybe copy them more. Because we find out like apparently like hundreds of years ago the fairies were like kind of these real things, but the humans were, I don't know if they're jealous of them, but the humans decided that they didn't want them anymore, want them to be part of society, and they cut their wings off and kind of banish them to woods, that sort of thing. So there's this animosity towards humans now for all these fairies which are stuck. They are stuck there. But yeah. So it's getting really bad, and there's this basically like they get really angry because obviously they can't see Mina and Madeline, although they managed to get back inside. That they're going to smash their way through. But this is when Mina actually finds that there's this hatchway, this doorway that leads underneath. And so they all get in, lock the door, and they can hear all their mirror getting smashed. There's all these videos everywhere, and they actually find all these. There's this like old Apple Mac, and it's like there's this professor, and he's been specifically studying these creatures, and he's even captured one of them, and he has it there, and he's bonding with it, and he's communicating with it. And he's just basically like researching them and seeing what they are and how they evolve and how they do what they do. But it's kind of going quite wrong. It's because he's trying to find, like we find out that his wife died. He's trying to find like ways to get her back, sort of thing. But he actually, in one of the last videos, he escapes how he explains how that they can escape, basically, and that he does not want his research to be kind of saved. He wants it to be destroyed. And then he says he's going to put a bullet in the watcher and then the bullet in him. And so you hear him climb off and shoot once and twice, and that's the end of the video. So he kills the Watcher and himself. So then the next day that they of course they follow his rules, his advice, their way to escape, basically. And they manage to do it, like, because as well as being in, they can only be out at night. They can't go in the water. They're kind of locked to this forest. But like when they're escaping, they do capture Daniel. So it's Kira's husband, but he's not really a husband. He's a Watcher, and he kills Daniel. So then it's only the three women which are left, and they basically escape. They travel through the night, and then the next day they find a bus and get on the bus and go to the nearest town. So Mina does this. It's like what the professor asks. So she goes to the school to destroy all of his work, basically. And there's this revelation where basically she sees the picture of his wife. The picture of his wife is Madeline. So then you start to put these pieces together. So she's putting these pieces together. So she goes over to Kira's, and she's explaining that Madeline was actually a Watcher. So he didn't kill the Watcher like he said he was going to do. He kind of let the Watcher, or somehow like the Watcher escaped and anything. And it's been with them the whole time. But there's this discussion. They find out, like reading, that there was crossbreeding basically between humans and fairies, and these kind of crossbred offspring are immune to sunlight, which explains a lot with Madeline. So anyway, she's explaining all this to Kira, but then Kira comes home, and of course it's Madeline, and there's a big fight, and she knocks out Kira. She's maybe going to kill her. She's attacking Mina, but then Mina says it's like that she has to let go of the hatred. It's like just let it go. It's you're not going to kind of get anywhere with your life if you just keep doing this. So yeah, she of course she spreads her wings and flies off, and you see that Mina comes to terms with things, and throughout you see these flashbacks all the time, and then you find out that she was actually the cause of her parents' death from a car crash. Or she was like this, one of the cogs which helped towards it, kind of thing. But then at the end of the movie, that we see that she actually reconciles with her sister. So she's getting her family back. She's getting her life back together. And you see this child. And it's actually Madeline. Because they mention that Watchers will always watch over them. So she recognises her, she sees her. So Madeline is watching her the whole time, basically. Yeah. This one was... it's quite interesting. It's definitely more simplistic. And with less twists. I mean, of course, you're going to compare Ishani to her father, and she's not at that level. You can see there's things in there with how stories evolve, with the visuals, how the aesthetics are, the filming. That there is definitely aspects of her father in her style. Ultimately, she falls quite short of like his very good work, his best work. Like for me, it's like I love The Village and Signs. They are my favourite two M. Night movies by far. And then this falls quite below those, but still, it's a very, very good movie. It's definitely better than some of his worst movies. So it's like it's a really interesting watch, interesting story. It's not anything that's really deep and nothing really particularly hard to figure out, but still it's a good watch and I would recommend it. Anyway, that's the end of the review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you. Good night.